Good evening. Good evening, gladiators in suits. It's been a while. It's been a week since we've went live, since we've gone live. And I'm sorry for being MIA because I enjoyed my birthday weekend. But we're back. And we're going to be doing a topic that a lot of you have been wanting me to do, but I've been resisting not to because I don't want to be labeled as someone who will just keep on talking about quitting. But that's going to be our topic for tonight. There's going to be a slight twist to this, however. Even if our topic is about quitting your job, we're going to do a slight twist by saying that it's about quitting your job, but you don't think you can quit just now. Meaning, you're not sure if you should quit, or you don't know what you want to do right after you quit, and you don't have any plans yet of what you ought to do when you quit. Which means, even if you want to resign, and even if no one's stopping you to resign, you just don't, you just can't resign yet. Okay? That's going to be our topic for tonight. Can I get an exclamation mark if we're all cool for tonight's topic? Yes? If it's your first time to join our session, we would love if you could please give us a heart. If you could please give us a like, we will appreciate that. Thank you. I'm looking at the chat box right now. Belated happy birthday greetings from everyone. Thank you. I just celebrated my 10th year anniversary of being 28 years old. So it's so funny, by the way. I placed that as a caption in one of my social media posts, and someone said, "Mr. Jonathan, happy 48th birthday." And I said, "Nope, your math is not right. You have to recompute again." Okay. Oh, Jay is here. Hi, Jay. Jay is watching on TikTok. Okay. As usual, the rules are simple. If you'd like to ask questions that are not related to tonight's topic, that's also fine. You can ask questions about, let's say, conflicts with your boss, conflicts with your colleagues. It could be about job interviews. It could be about being stuck in a crossroad. Whatever it is, as long as it's career related, we're also going to be answering those questions in tonight's session. But I would appreciate that because this is all about the topic, if you can, as much as you can, please stick to the topic. And that is wanting to quit but not quite yet. O di ba ang ganda may alliteration? Quitting but not quite yet. I think that's a very good title of I don't know, a movie or a book, for example. Marlene Araguas on LinkedIn says, "I'm same here. It's currently what I'm feeling now." Rebecca says on LinkedIn, "You're too young." Am I? I don't think hitting 40 years old soon in the next few years is young. But then again, youth is a state of mind. So maybe yes. I think I'll take that. I think I'll celebrate the fact that I think I'm still young. Mark from LinkedIn says, "Hello from Naga City and Bicol." Thank you. I'm also looking at the chat box here. Contemplating too, says Minimalist Mom on TikTok. Pons just attacked us with a question immediately. And he says, "There is a title promotion versus transferring to another company. Same title but better pay. Which one?" I would choose one that has a better pay, even if it's just the same title. I need to emphasize this, by the way. A lot of people are conscious about titles. I'll give you an example. When you get to be transferred, when you get to move to a new company, but the title sounds like a demotion, but the scope of work is almost the same or even bigger, and the pay is even bigger, don't care about titles. It's just a title. What matters more is what you're going to be learning and what you're going to be earning. Also, please take note that it's easy to explain a change in title during your job interview. I'm going to give you an example. This happened to me exactly. When I was in Globe Telecom, I was already a senior product manager. But when I transferred to GlaxoSmithKline, which is a pharmaceutical company, they said, "You're not yet a senior product manager because from our definition, you should be able to do X, Y, and Z." But I was getting a 30% raise. It was an entirely new industry, which means I have to start from scratch. I took the job. In 2 years' time, I became a senior product manager, and I did not care if I was not senior. I knew I was already senior because I knew what I was capable of. If you're insecure of titles, I think that you have a deeper problem beyond career progression. Your insecurity is how people perceive you. And how people perceive you is not going to put food on the table, and neither is that going to help you succeed in your job. So, yes, titles may not help you sleep well at night, but I think it's just going to be a matter of weeks or months. You'll get over that soon, but at the same time, you'll be laughing because you have a fatter paycheck and you have a new company and a new challenge to get onto. Okay? So, Pons, that's my quick answer to your question. Let me just move this, by the way. There you go. I made some magic there on TikTok, by the way. I just moved the title. Okay. Um, Mama Mo TikTokerist on TikTok says, I was laid off for not doing beyond my job description, which was expected by my manager. Any thoughts? Getting laid off or getting terminated is very subjective, and it's always going to be based on the agreements between you and your manager and the company. Unless it's an unlawful termination, unfortunately, these things are decided by the organization because it's a contract that you guys have signed up for. Erwin Yadao on LinkedIn is saying this. I really want to quit, but I am afraid of what people might think. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna muster some patience here because my immediate reaction is don't. But I understand why people can think this way. But I am afraid of what other people think because I believe I deserve more. Should I ask my manager regarding this before I really explore outside? Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I think that the younger you are, you'll always be conscious of what other people think because what matters to you is your reputation. But I'm gonna tell this also to you as you grow older and wiser and more experienced, you will discover, and sometimes painfully, that what people think of you is not gonna matter significantly. They're not paying your rent. They're not paying for your Netflix subscription. They're not gonna pay for your next trip to Tokyo or to whatever country you go to. Don't mind them. If you make people rent space in your head without paying for that rent, you're the one who's losing. I think you should quit because you think that there's a greener pasture on the other side of the road. I think you should quit because you're not being treated properly by your company. I think you should quit because the company promised something and they did not live up to it, and you know that they will never change, for example. Now, Erwin is asking, should I ask my manager regarding this before I really explore outside? I think you should talk to your manager if you think that there is a good possibility that they can work on those shortcomings. For example, if your issue is, I don't think that I deserve my current pay, and you've talked to your manager explaining that you need a merit increase because you deserve X, Y, and Z, and you think that there's a possibility that the company can respond to this, go. I think you should. And I think you should always try because sometimes we're blocked by our own inhibitions, thinking that there's no point talking to my manager anyway because they don't want to listen because they'll get mad. I think that the only cost that you will have is that perhaps your manager will get mad at you or will treat you differently, which will only reveal their true versions. And if that's who they are, then I think it's a red flag. I don't think it's a company that's worthy of being an employee for. Okay? But Erwin, more than anything else, I don't think you should quit because of what other people might think. If you're concerned that your seatmates and your colleagues are going to talk back and say, he easily quit, he wasn't able to live up to the expectations. In 2 weeks' time, in 1 month's time, they're going to forget about you. You're going to forget about them. Does that matter at all? I don't think so. Is that worth the anxiety? I don't think so. My personal mantra in life is that you should not be spending more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes on something that you know in 1 year's time you will be forgetting. Can I get the letter A? As in amen, if you agree? I have so many memories in my head that, just randomly pass by, and I realized, I forgot about that. I forgot about this person. I forgot about this event. And I'm thankful that I didn't spend enough time worrying about these things because I realized they were not worth that overthinking. Okay? So please, I'm not going to judge you if you are conscious of what other people think, because I think that the younger we are, we undergo that stage in our lives. And that's important. The more conscious we are, the more we get to survive in this world, because that means we get to decide if someone is an ally or an enemy in our lives. So that's fine. But as you grow wiser and older, I think you should start letting go and shedding off those insecurities, because they're not going to pay those bills. They're not going to help you be better in your life as well. Okay. Lots of questions tonight. I wonder why. I wonder why. Well, it's because it's about quitting, your favorite topic. Okay, Patrick Santos on LinkedIn has another question. I'm about to quit because of the people around me. However, I really love what I am doing. And also, I'm afraid because my side hustle is affecting my work right now. What should I do? Okay, Patrick, I'm going to repeat the question for those folks that may have missed out, because I think it's a very important question. I'm about to quit because of the people around me. However, I really love what I am doing. Also, I'm afraid because my side hustle is affecting my work, meaning you have something on the side, it's affecting your current mainstream job. What should I do? Okay, Patrick, I want you to consider a different situation in which, what if you love the people around you, but it's the job that you hate? Which one would you choose? If I were to choose, and then again, both can happen at the same time. So this is not about choosing what's bad or what's good. If I were to choose, I would rather have a job that I love, rather than a job that I love with people that I'm so friends with, versus I may love everyone at work, but I don't love the job. And why is that so? I think that majority of the time that you spend at work is going to be spent on in front of your laptop, on your PowerPoint, on your spreadsheet, on the ideas that you need to generate, or the thoughts that you need to rebut, versus someone who's raising it during a meeting. And if I were to choose, I would rather choose a job that I like, because I have control on how I can build relationships with people. Can I get an exclamation mark? That's easier to manage versus changing my perspective about my job. Because a job is a job. It's a job description. It's usually fixed. It's usually something that you cannot negotiate. You can perhaps in terms of the amount of workload, but that's it. If someone's asking you to generate this X number of slides or this number of spreadsheets, it's not like you can radically change it. But I think that no matter how bad a person is, no matter how BS they can be in your lives, you will always find a way to mitigate your interaction with them. Case in point, you can minimize how you speak to them. You can minimize how they also interact with you. I also think that the better you become in your job, the more immunity you gain, so that these people are going to avoid you. I also think that sometimes it's easier to understand that the reason why a person is like X, Y, and Z is because they're undergoing a certain problem in life, or because they're not satisfied with what they're getting in their life. And when you change your perspective as such, you tend to be more forgiving of these people. I don't think you can possess that same perspective when it comes to your job. So, Patrick, if you really love what you're doing, I think at some point you'll be able to graduate from how you feel from your folks. So, I'm not sure because I don't have enough information about you, but I don't think as of this moment that this warrants a very tough reason for you to quit. Perhaps maybe you want to quit because something dramatic or something really bad happened to you caused by these people. If it's something that's significantly affecting your mental health or your physical health, then I think it warrants you quitting. But I want you to appreciate that not everyone in this world gets to love what they're doing. I'm going to use your word, Patrick, because you're using the word love, which, by the way, is a strong word. I had jobs in my life where I cannot use the word love. I would say I like my job or I get by with my job, but I can't use the word love. In your case, if that's what you mean, I want you to cherish it. So I want you to reconsider if you really need to quit that job. Also, if you're telling me that your side hustle is affecting your current work, it's a choice. Remember, you put yourself into this. And whatever your situation may be, it may be a financial issue or just wanting to be excited by a side hustle, you put yourself into this. So if it's starting to affect your main job, you might want to face a crossroad where you have to choose, do you need to let go of this side hustle so that you can focus on your job? Okay? I'm going to make a conspiracy theory about this. What if all of these are connected with each other? Perhaps your side hustle is affecting your performance at work, and it's the reason why the people around you are starting to get irritated or hurt or think that you're not stepping up to the plate. Possibility, yes. But remember, the last part, this is your choice. And you also have an option to leave and to let go of one of them. Okay? Let's answer another question. You guys are popping tonight. Again, I'm going to make a disclaimer. I will not transform this live stream as a quitting live session. Okay? This is not going to be a therapy session. We need to talk about other topics in the future. Ooh, Paul. Paul from TikTok is asking, if you're not getting support from your supervisor, yet they expect high results, does it warrant for quitting? What is RL? Paul, is this a jargon in your company? But I would assume that you're talking about, does it warrant quitting? Number one, before you dismiss that your boss is not supporting you, ask yourself, have you vocally requested for this? Because ideally, a great company and a great boss will give this to you even if you don't ask. But let's face it, not all companies are amazing, not all bosses are amazing. And so sometimes you have to be the one to vocalize and say, hey, I need help. I need this assistance. If they continue to refuse to resist, for example, then I will start thinking that it's a red flag. Because if you have a boss who will continue not to mentor you, you know that you're on a trajectory that your career is not going to be supported. Of course, on one hand, and I've made a lot of videos about this, I think that you can still survive even if your boss is not as supportive. I will go to other senior leaders in the company. I will watch a heck ton of YouTube videos. The reason why you're in this live stream is because you're also looking for support, for example. I would ask as much feedback as I can from my colleagues, from my vendors, from my third-party agencies, so that I get to improve myself. So mentorship is not exclusive to your boss, and never think that your mentorship and coaching should be only from your boss. Okay? However, I'm also going to consider this, Paul, if you think that the support that you're talking about is support for purchasing a new software, a new tool, a new gadget that the company ought to provide for you to get the job done, and they refuse to, you're not being set up for success. I don't think that this is the type of job that will make you feel secured and be happy for in the long run. Okay? Chili Sauce from YouTube says, I don't like my job. A lot of people don't, unfortunately. Okay. AJ Pocholo, let me answer this quickly on TikTok. Kapag tinatamad po ba, when someone feels lazy, is it a sign that you should resign? Nope, it is not at all. You know what is the symptom? You're simply lazy. And you need to do something about it. Technically, maybe that there's something about the job that doesn't make you feel motivated, but it is not one at all of the major signs. It is an intrinsic issue that I think you need to manage. Also, if you keep on changing your jobs and you remain to be lazy, I don't think that the issue is the job. I think the issue is you. Okay? But thank you, AJ, for that question. Okay, I've answered this before, but in the interest of some folks who may be logging on for the first time, I want to answer this. Question from Fredo Baggins on TikTok. What do you think of quiet quitting at work? Any thoughts? What are the pros and cons? I want to give my perspective from an employee's perspective and an employer's perspective. Number one, no employer wants you to do quiet quitting. What is quiet quitting? You're giving your bare minimum. You're not technically wanting to quit. You're just silently rebelling by only giving what is asked. just enough for you not to be fired, but you're not going to give your best. You're going to be leaving down to the 5 o'clock, down to the second. You're only going to be sending emails when someone asks you. You're not going to take the initiative so that you can stand out. That is quiet quitting. If I were your employer, I would not love that. And I would not want to hire people who don't want to give their best. From an employee's perspective, I can totally understand why you do that. If you don't think that every time you do something amazing and your company does not reward you or recognize you for it, it makes you think, what's the point of giving more if I'm not going to be rewarded anyway, if I'm not going to be recognized anyway? And so I'm just going to give the bare minimum. So I can understand. I'm going to support you if you're stuck in a position wherein the company does not have any merit philosophy of recognizing their folks. But I'm also going to say this, I don't think it's not sustainable in the long run. Why? You can quietly do this revolution, but the solution is not to do quiet quitting. The solution is maybe you might need to go to another company that properly recognizes their people's talents and their efforts. So you don't need to do quiet quitting in the first place. Okay, some more question. Okay, people are asking this. This is a question on YouTube. Question from Sarina on YouTube. I am 80% sure of wanting to quit, but I don't have any job yet that I can jump into. And I know that money is an issue, so I don't want to be employed. What should be my transition plan starting today? Okay, I want to share something that I've done personally in my career and something that I think is an ideal way of transitioning. If, let's say, today is July, you're 80% at the verge of wanting to quit, but you don't have any job yet. I think that you should eye a 3 month or a 2 month timeline. I'm going to repeat, a 3 month or a 2 month timeline. Why am I saying that? It's hard to transition immediately to a new job in just a few weeks' time. And I get that. Some people in this chat are probably saying, that's not true. I can easily get a job in 2 weeks' time, in 1 week's time. I can easily get a job in 3 days. That's true for specific industries. I know that a lot of people in this chat room are from the BPO industry, so that applies to you. That doesn't apply to everyone. Some people can take 2 months, some people can take 3 months, some people even take 6 months, depending on their industry. People in sales, people in marketing, people in procurement or legal or compliance teams, for example, can take months. So if it's July and you're wanting to leave, you have to embrace the fact that you might want to put some allowance. So as early as now, with a 3 month allowance, you have to start floating your resume and start floating your CVs, even if you're not yet 100% sure. Why? Because you're buying time. If someone happens to invite you for a job interview, that's fine. You can decline it if you still don't want to, or you can take it on. At least you are already in the boat. Versus, you're only are going to apply for jobs on LinkedIn and you will only start to be active putting your resumes, dropping them in websites by the time that you have quit. You're putting yourself in such a big disaster. If you will end up looking for jobs in 3 months or 4 months, unemployed, you're going to deplete your savings. And I also want to say this. I will keep on saying this many times. Ideally, I don't think you should tender your resignation if you're still not sure that this new company is going to take you in. Do the reverse. Sign the new contract with the company first. And when they have acknowledged the signed contract with the new company, that's the only time that you should tender your resignation with the current company. Can I get an exclamation mark? Are we in agreement with that? Why is that? There are companies wherein they've given you the verbal yes. They were so chummy on the phone and say, yes, we're going to take you. And then after 2 weeks, they will say, John, sorry, the position has been invalidated. Sorry, there has been a change of plans and change of strategy. But you've already quit your job. You've already tendered your resignation. And this company is taking back their words. It's going to be hard. You don't have any legal implication to stand up against them because there was no signed contract to begin with. So I'd rather that you sign a contract with the new company first and then tender your resignation later on. A lot of people tell this to me they comment on this on TikTok and say, wouldn't a company request you first to resign before you sign on to a new company? Some companies do that, and here's my take. I think that those are the bad companies. I think that those are the red flag companies. The best companies will understand and say, okay, I want you to first sign this contract, and then that's when you should tender the resignation because I want to make sure that this is solid and that this is committed for you. Okay? I get surprised, and maybe because I wasn't properly exposed, but I see a lot of people on the comment section on social media saying, pwede pala yon. Dapat pala I should be signing a contract first before I resign, not the other way around. And I'm going to say this, in all of the three companies that I applied and I became a part of, that was my same strategy. I signed first a contract with a new company, then I tendered the resignation. Immediately on the same day, after I signed the new contract with the new company. And remember, when I say signed contract, request for the copy where there is the signature of the employer. Not just your signature and the blanks of the other company is empty. It has to be both. That's the only time that you can really tell to yourself that you are a fully fledged new hire of that company. Okay? Can I get an exclamation mark? Can I get a heart if we're all cool with that? And I will appreciate if you get to ask more questions about that. I think it's something that's very controversial for a lot of folks. Again, I'm also going to say this. Can my manager or can my employer block my resignation? Not at all. In the Philippine law, not only is it's not even part of the labor code, it is part of the Constitution. No one should be submitted to forced labor. And the moment that you have vocalized and documented that you don't want this job anymore, remember, if they still keep on wanting you to work, that is modern slavery. Again, for those who are watching this live stream on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, you might think that I'm an old record now, but please let me say this for people who are watching this for the first time. The only technicality that you should consider if you are tendering a resignation is that in your contract, it usually states that you have to offer 30 days or 60 days more of transition period before you finally leave the company. This allows the organization to make sure they find a replacement and that you get to turn over your documents. Please also take note that the company has the right to withhold your last month's salary if they think that this is considerable debt. What do I mean? They gave you a laptop. They gave you a car to borrow for your work. You have not properly returned this yet. You owe these things to the company. And because you haven't properly returned them, when you tendered your resignation, they can withhold your last salary and say that this is going to be the replacement for what you owe to us. Okay? This is unfair, but a lot of companies can get away with this. They can even say, and again, this happens a lot in a lot of organizations, they can even say that because you did not properly turn over the document, business continuity was destroyed, and therefore that amounts to this revenue. And because that's potential revenue that's lost, we're going to be withholding your salary. Some companies get away with that. So be mindful because you may have tendered your resignation, you may have left your company, but you're not cleared. You don't get that clearance from your organization, which your new employer might ask for later. Okay? Iris Macaranas, will an email confirmation from the new company enough to accept the job offer? Yes, as a confirmation, but it does not guarantee that you are a fully fledged employee. No contract. Remember this again, guys, no contract, no employment. It is the contract. Even if you have that verbalization and email, that can be easily rescinded. They can easily say, yeah, we said that, but there hasn't been a full agreement. Plans have changed and all these things. It also covers, We're in the Philippines. A lot of you guys are coming from the Philippines. And it's really interesting how some companies do not even honor in contracts. They don't honor digital signatures or signatures that have been printed on the paper. They prefer a wet ink signature, meaning they will only honor the contract if it's a real ball pen or sign pen placed on a sheet of paper. There are companies who are like that. Okay, so be mindful. What if they only sent the signed contract through email? I think that's fine, as long as the signature is covered for both parties. Generally, documentation via email are honored in courts, and you don't need to be a lawyer to know that. Okay? But make sure that the contract is signed by both parties. Okay, let's answer a question from TikTok this time. Rosalie, what happens when the resigned employee was not given proper clearance? Well, part of that is your last salary, your last month's salary can be withheld. Uh, your new company might not take you in because they don't want you to be a liability in their company for you not being cleared. For example, in your future applications in other companies, they might ask for another clearance. And because that's in the file of the employer, that could be another reason why they might have doubts about taking you in. So I do think that clearance are very important to cover. Aza Kami, been pondering on quitting and this pops into my FYP on TikTok. Isn't the algorithm so powerful? Or maybe that's by chance. Okay, Bea's asking, when will the clearance start after you tender the resignation? For most in companies, yes. I will use the word most because ideally it should. The moment you tender your resignation and it's been acknowledged, not approved. FYI, those two things are different. Acknowledge means, yes, I saw the letter. Yes, I heard you. Okay? Remember, resignations are not for approval. No one approves your resignation. It's a matter of acceptance and uh, how do you call it? Recognizing that it is something that you wrote and you said. Okay? So it should start immediately. I'm also saying this because I'll give an example. This was 12 years ago. In my last company, when I tendered my resignation, I said to myself, okay, if I'm going to tender my resignation and because I have to return a lot of things to the company, I may not get my last month's pay. So let's say, for example, I tendered my resignation on the 25th of the month. Okay? 25th of the month, the last month's salary is the current month's salary is obviously going to be delivered when? Let's say July 31. There is a big chance that you will not be receiving your salary for July 31. Why? You don't get to finish clearance for 5 days. You're going to be answering the exit interview. You're going to be returning the tools. You'll be talking to certain people, all these things. If you can magically finish them in 5 days, all good. You will get your last month's salary, okay, your ultimate salary on July 31. If this doesn't happen, that salary is going to be withheld for most organizations. Okay? Ideally, they should give it to you, but a lot of companies get away with this. They can invoke that part of law that your last month's salary is going to be withheld because you owe something to the company. Okay? So also, may I request, therefore, if you are quitting, quit strategically. Why? If you really need that money in a few days' time, don't quit 2 days or 5 days before. This was something that I learned the hard way. I was quitting right before the 31st or 30th. So my last salary, my ultimate salary was withheld. I only got it 2 months later. So sometimes strategically, it's better to resign on the first week of the month. You are able to buy more time so that you can still get your salary on time at the end of the month or by the 15th if your company pays you twice in a month. Is a job order different from a contract? Yes. A job order is simply a summary of what is ought to be expected from the talent or from the employee. It does not enumerate nor indicate what are the terms of agreement for your employment. So if you have received a job order but have not received a contract, do not consider that you are immediately a fully fledged employee. Not quite yet. Okay, let's cover another question on TikTok. Ooh, I like this. Lorenzo is asking, in my job interview, do I need to say what my past salary is in the negotiation? Okay? Is it against the data privacy? Number one, you have the right to keep it to yourself. You also have to embrace the fact that because it's a question, you're giving consent to the interviewer if you answer the question. Okay? And it's an implicit agreement because it's implying, well, we know that you don't want to share your amount, but remember, if you want higher chances of getting hired, then you should allow us to ask that question. So somehow there's that consent that's happening already in the discussion. Here's my tip, however. If you don't want to share the salary during your job interview, you can take two routes. Number one, instead of the specific amount, give them a range. So say something like, I'm currently in the range of 50,000 to 70,000 pesos. And this year I'm expecting a promotion. So that means that I can potentially even increase that to around 20% or the north of 100,000. This way, you're still responsive to their question, but you're keeping a level of privacy. And if you're working for a good company, they should understand that. That's one. Number two, if you're really hesitant and you think that this is something that you should not share, you can simply state, and this works, my current company, due to data privacy, does not allow us to share our current salary for reasons that these are confidential and strategic information that they don't want to share to their competitors or to other companies. You'll be fine. Also, I'm gonna make this quick. Uh, I'm gonna make this quick, bold opinion. If the company you're applying for, okay, if the company that you're applying for requires you to reveal your past salary as a factor to identify what your new salary is, I think it's a red flag. I am not a believer that you should be basing someone's salary on their current job because their value is going to be totally different the moment they move to another company. Why so? When you move to a different company, you're not just bringing in yourself, you're bringing in your network, your expertise, new amount of information that they will probably never have if they did not get someone externally. So your value is not anymore the same. You should be way up high, 10%, 20%, 30%. That's the reason why it's easier to increase your salary if you're an external hire versus getting internally promoted. Okay? And I think you should be paid for what you're worth. The reason why companies pirate other employees is because they know that they will never get that type of DNA from their current set of employees. They want a fresher set of perspectives, a fresher set of eyes, a new type of DNA that they think is going to change the way their employees think. If you're that person, you should be asking for more and you deserve more. Okay? I will not, if a recruiter asks me what my current salary is and forces me and tells me, it's important because this is how we decide your salary, I'm going to leave the interview. That's just me because I keep that high standard for myself. I don't think I deserve that kind of company because I'm worth more than what I am today. When I transfer to your new company, I'm bringing in something that you guys never have and probably will never have. So I deserve more. Okay, I'm going to pause for a bit because we're halfway through and I want to give away prizes now to our participants for our upcoming workshops. Is that okay? Can I get the letter P as in prize if you're up for that? As you know, we often give free tickets to our upcoming career workshops conducted at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC in SM Aura. And our next batch is happening on July 28th and July 29. For folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you are seeing the schedules on your screen. For folks on TikTok, a quick overview. July 28th is Leadership in Hybrid Work Era. That's the morning session. Afternoon session is Level Up Your Social Media Marketing. July 29th, Saturday, morning session is Boost Your Confidence for Public Speaking. And afternoon session is Email Etiquette and Business Writing. Each session is 3 hours and it's worth 1,299 pesos for a ticket. I want to give away 10 because I missed you guys and I haven't been online for a week. I'm going to give away 10 free tickets tonight. Okay. Let's make it 11. 5 tickets for TikTok. 5 winners for TikTok. 2 winners each for Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So you guys know the drill. We're just going to ask a random trivia question just to break the ice. And I want you guys now to tell me what do you think should be our topic for tonight? What do you think should be our theme for our trivia? Sports, anime, for example. Gosh, when I was in Tokyo last week, I was just so drooling over all the. We went to Akihabara, by the way, and we just saw so many free. You know, the yen is so weak. It's 0.3, 0.4 these days. Love life daw. Nako, I'm not good at that part. History, general knowledge, traveling. Pwede. Okay, sige. Sige. Ito, travel na lang. I think this one's easy, but I think it's something that's interesting to, how do you call this? It's interesting to learn for some people who may not have traveled yet. So let's talk about travel. That's going to be our category for tonight. So fastest fingers will win. All you need to do is to type your answers in the chat box. Okay. My question is this. When you travel to Western Europe, or at least most parts of Western Europe, let's say you travel to France and you go to Italy or you go to Spain, or let's say you go to Czech Republic, you do not need anymore to undergo immigration the moment you've landed in your first European country, right? What is the reason behind this? Okay, might be a quick statement for some of you, but explain briefly why. So let's say from Manila, you flew to Paris, but when you go from Paris to Milan, you don't need to undergo immigration anymore. In fact, it's still an international flight, but you just go past through the luggage, and that's it. Okay, why is that? And there is one thing that you need to apply for that grants you this. Okay, there are many ways to explain this, by the way, but I think I've got some correct answers now. So here's the catch. So the correct answer is number one. These countries are under one agreement, which is the Schengen Agreement, and that means that they exercise a free border policy, which means their citizens can travel freely without any immigration restrictions from one place to another. And here's the beautiful part, they can even apply for jobs in those countries of agreement. And that is under the Schengen Agreement, which in this case, if you apply for one European country, you're likely going to get a Schengen visa, which allows you to travel to other members of the Schengen Agreement. Okay, so let's capture some folks who got this correct. Let's first call out the winners on Facebook. My winners are Facebook, Gilbert Pedroso. Congratulations. My second winner is John Eric Dagos. Congratulations. Next winner on YouTube is Reinaline Mendoza. So visa free. I'll also take that as an answer. Okay. By the way, you have to give me the correct spelling. It's Schengen, not Shenzhen, which is in China, by the way. What else? LinkedIn, Wilson Makalintal also got it correct, the Schengen visa. And then last one is Mark William Tria, also from LinkedIn for Schengen visa. Congratulations. For those who have won, just send us a message privately and we'll give you instructions. Here's the beautiful part: we don't want you to attend alone because that's a sad thing to do. We're going to allow you to attend with a plus one also for free. Okay, congratulations. Now for TikTok, we're giving 5 winners because we love TikTok. We're thanking you for our 9,000 likes so far. So, TikTok, the 5 winners are the following. Okay, first winner, name is Joe Martiliana. Congratulations, Joe Martiliana. My second winner is Shock Just Kim. Shock Just Kim, congratulations. Third winner is Carlton Mercado. Fourth winner is Isnet07. And fifth winner is Marlo Justine. Congratulations. Please send us a message, a private message or a DM, and we'll give you instructions on how to claim your prizes. 2 tickets per winner. Remember, July 28 to July 29. If you'd like to know more details about our upcoming workshops at the SMX Convention Center, you can go to our website, jonathanyabut.com. Okay? Okay. Questions have been buried in the chat box. If you have a burning, itching question, let's continue. You can cut and paste them again so we can address them as part of our second half. Mr. John, sabi ni Ellery sa TikTok, hindi po ba kayo napapagod magsalita? I do, of course, but I do this for a living. You'll be surprised if you've been doing this for almost a decade now. You'll get used to it. I think it's the same way as, when you attend a concert and you get amazed how the singer never gets tired. You'll be surprised, lung capacity is an important part of being a speaker. When I do one-day workshops, a lot of people get amazed, like, how do you do it? It dries up your throat sometimes, but it is a matter of practice. If you do it on a daily basis, your body, I think, ends up evolving to it. Okay, Shoto Todoroki. Okay. Ooh, we have a My Hero Academia fan here. I'm waiting for the next season, by the way. Hi, Sir John. I want to quit my job and focus on my studies. I'm in my last year in school. Your thoughts? Okay. If you are in an industry where they prioritize and give a lot of appreciation to people who have finished schooling, I think you should finish your schooling. It gives you a better chance of climbing up the corporate ladder faster. It also gives you a better chance of being able to find a job. This is not to say, however, that you will not have a chance to find a good job if you don't finish university. As we all know today, a lot of companies are becoming more progressive. They're looking for skills and experience, not just for diploma. Case in point, companies like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, these companies do not even ask for a diploma because their founders and their owners also did not finish school. So it's a case-to-case basis. I think what you should do, however, Shoto, on TikTok, is if you can find a way to juggle both at the same time. Why am I saying that? You're also still losing here. There's an opportunity cost that you're losing, meaning the longer you stay away from your job, your skills also tend to rot, right? Pwede kang how do you call this? You tend to lose out on the opportunity to learn more. Plus, if money is an issue, then you'll end up spending, but you end up losing the opportunity to also save and to also earn. So think about those and identify what your priorities are. But in the Philippines, I do think that for specific industries, for those niche industries, they do appreciate if you have finished your course. For other industries, for example, sales, marketing, customer service, I don't think these organizations are specifically demanding that you finish your job. For them, experience can even trump your diploma. So if that's the case, you might want to ask yourself, what's the reason why you want to finish this diploma? If you may not necessarily, if they do not necessarily require it at all. Okay? Okay, let's answer this question from Casey on Facebook. Someone asked if I resigned already and clearance has been cleared. I want to transfer to the same concept of organization which I resigned from. However, I have a contract in the past employers that I cannot apply. Okay. Okay. Casey, I think what you're trying to say is your company's contract, your employment contract has a non-compete clause. What is a non-compete clause? If let's say you're working for Jollibee and you have quit your job, and let's pretend that Jollibee says in the contract, after you quit, you cannot apply for other jobs that are direct competitors, such as, for example, McDonald's, KFC, Burger King. And the reason for that is because you might end up sharing sensitive information that can be beneficial for them and not good for our business. Okay? Globe Telecom, for example, when you become their employee, will say you are not allowed after you quit to apply to Smart, to PLDT, to Ditto. You can only apply after 2 years. And companies do exercise that. And they have the right, for example, to exercise that because it's a consent. If you don't want that agreement, then don't apply for the job. Don't say yes to the job. Okay? So, Casey, if you're asking me, does this company have the right to sue me? Technically, it's a breach of contract. I'm not sure if they will go to the heights of suing you because that's also a cost to them. But my answer here is nothing stopping them. Okay? They can. It's a breach of contract at the end of the day. Um, my question, though, however, is how exactly is this company directly a competitor of your current company? I'm not sure. Maybe you can message me separately and you can give me more details. But yes, if you apply to a direct competitor and you got accepted, it can be a breach of contract. Okay, let's answer a question here on. Bea is asking again, what if you signed the job offer, sent the requirements but no contract yet? Follow up the contract. Ask for a timeline of the contract. Juancho is asking, is the monthly salary the only concern when finishing the 30-day clearance? Um, there are other things. Have you properly turned over the documents? Have you properly turned over, and I'm talking about even the username and password to whoever's going to replace you? Because if the company deems that you did not properly turn over the documents, they will say that you owe something to them. And therefore, you're not cleared. Therefore, they will declare it as non-accomplishment of duties before resignation. Okay? So make sure that all of these things are covered. Okay, YouTube. Camille is saying, I am resigning, but until now, they have not found a replacement, and therefore, they don't want to accept my resignation, but I already have work in a few weeks. Any advice to this, John? Okay, number one, it is not the responsibility of the employee to look for a replacement. Can I get a letter A as in amen for affirmation? Just for you guys to remember that. It is not your responsibility, neither is it your obligation. It's not your problem. That's the company's problem. That's HR's problem. That's the recruitment's problem. That's the hiring manager's problem. And that is not a valid reason to not accept your resignation. Now, Camille, if you need to go to your new job because you have a new job, go. That is your obligation right now. There's one slight politically motivated problem that might happen, and that is obviously this isn't a good company that you're working for because they're not even accepting your resignation. For me, that's a red flag. I'm concerned that because you will be leaving them soon, right? Because you have to attend to your new job, they will withhold your last salary. And unfortunately, a lot of companies do this and they get away with this para lang gantihan kanila. Unfortunately. So be mindful of this. It's easy for me to say. It's easier said than done. You can complain to Dolly, for example, but we may know that that might not be the fastest route to do so. Okay? But I'm just gonna say this: your obligation now is not with your current company. If you have finished everything and if you've properly turned over everything, your obligation is with your new company, not with your old company. Okay? Uy, this one's dramatic. Miss I on TikTok says, "What if I have submitted my resignation and then the manager tore apart my resignation?" It's K drama, but it doesn't change the fact that you have resigned. You have resigned. The fact that she has acknowledged that she has read that paper means that she is aware that you have tendered your resignation. Okay? I think the problem now, which unfortunately I cannot solve, is how does this company treat you after you've tendered the resignation? Will they give you your last salary, for example? Here's another problem I often notice. Some companies who are really bad companies will not give you your certificate of employment just because they want to, cause vengeance to you, and they're not allowed to do so. That is also illegal. Companies are required by law to give you a certificate of employment by demand. Oh, okay. This one's one more from TikTok. I am planning to resign next month. Will I be able to receive at least half a year or the 13th month pay? The best way to answer this, unfortunately, it will reveal your thoughts. The best way to answer this is to ask your HR, because rules are usually different. I'll give an example. In my last corporate job, sorry, I'm just going to fix my hair. In my last corporate job, the policy of the company is the 13-month and the 14-month pay are prorated, which means if in the year you only spent 3 months, then you will get 3 months worth of the total, how do you call this, of the total bonus. So if your bonus is, for example, 10,000 pesos, 10,000 pesos divided by 12 months, you will only get 3 months worth of that. So that can be a potential policy. That depends on every company. There are companies stated in their contract that if you only resign at this month, you will only get this portion also. So check. Okay. Joseph says happy birthday. Thank you. Okay. What salary range should I expect as a fresh graduate, says Morissette? The range is just so different. An intern at Unilever or Procter and Gamble can get as much as 80,000 pesos. That's the running rate right now. And these are the cream of the crop. But in another company, you can get as low as 15,000 or 20,000 pesos. It depends on the industry, it depends on the company, it also depends on the nature of the position and the role. Okay? The one thing, however, you should consider is if your salary covers the minimum wage mandated by the government. Okay? And a few weeks or days ago, they increased that as well. I think it's around 600 now. I think in Metro Manila. Okay. Um, does a company has the right to make you sign that you've been in the company for 6 months, even if you've been with them, to make you sign your 6 month, even if you've been with them for more than that? Mix, can you please clarify this because I think it's not clear? Let me answer a question instead on. Okay. A lot of people are asking, can the company not accept the resignation? I've repeated this many times. It's illegal. Resignations are an FYI for your information. It is not FYA or for your approval. Okay. Trying to look for a question that's not similar to others so we can cover a unique question. Okay. I have a question here now on TikTok. This is from Tina Marie. John, okay. I just tendered my resignation and my current company is requiring me to reveal which new company am I going to transfer to and how much am I getting. Is this required? Nope. It's your private information. They have no right to ask that, and you're also protected by the Data Privacy Act. It's your choice. And they should not use that for any reason to withhold your salary or to do something to you just because you don't want to reveal it. Ira the Explorer on YouTube is asking, I intended to quit, but the company offered me the highest position. Meaning, Ira, you were not just offered, you were counter offered because they want you to stay. I will be in my fourth year next year at my job. Should I stay? Ira, my only concern about your question is that it's incomplete. And that is, what is the very reason in the first place why you wanted to quit? Such that even if you've been given a counter offer, is that good enough to offset whatever reason that you have for you to stay? I'll give an example. If, let's say, your reason of quitting was that it's a bad management, okay? Culture is toxic. Even if they gave you a higher position and you have the power to change things with a higher salary, I don't think it's worth considering it if the same people are going to run that bad culture. So they're dangling a carrot, but it's just one piece of carrot, and that's it. And remember, I need to say this. Please be careful when a company offers you a counter offer. Sometimes it's not because they value you. Sometimes it's because the cost of having to replace you is more than having to keep you. So they don't want another set of interviews, another set of job recruitment, another set of onboarding, another set of mentoring and coaching. Some people just don't want to undergo the same thing. So they will tell to themselves, okay, then let's just give a counter offer so that this person does not leave. And I don't like that kind of situation. Why? If you really appreciate me for who I am, I should not have triggered a resignation for you to give me a promotion or for you to give me a higher salary. It's only a sign that this company does not know how to treat its people. If it has the capability to do this, what more in the future? It's a company that can easily backstab you, or they only do this, they're only giving you a counter offer because it's the convenient thing to do for them. Okay. Why are we always being required to state our previous salary, says Shy on TikTok? Will they be able to find out if we fake it? That's actually a good response because it's going to be hard for them to find out anyway. It's not like they will be able to call the HR recruiter from another company. And I doubt if the HR recruiter is going to respond to them anyway. Okay? This is why I keep on telling people some greedy companies and some really bad companies and some really SHITTY companies, what they do instead is that they ask for your pay slip so that you do not lie about your salary. And I will say this, if they ask for a pay slip, run. This is a bad company. It's a red flag because they want to make sure that they will find out your true salary and that they will base your future salary on what's written on that payslip. Run. I don't think it's a company worth working for. Patrick, do you have a live conference for this workshop and what are the categories? You're giving me an idea. We should conduct a workshop on quitting. We'll consider that in the future. But in the meantime, all our workshops, Patrick, are displayed on the screen. So on my right side, on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, these are the available topics right now: leadership, social media marketing, boost your confidence, and email etiquette. But yes, we've been considering a clinic. So we've always been thinking of doing a career clinic for folks who need more guidance about their progression in their career. Can I get an exclamation mark if that sounds cool? Will that work out for you guys? So it's like, instead of going to a hospital because you think that you're sick or you need some help on how to improve your body, this time it's a career clinic for people who need support. And so we're going to be there to give you advice and help you improve your LinkedIn, help you manage your resume. I actually had a resume company a few years back in Kuala Lumpur. Got busy, however, so we had to turn it over to a new business partner. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of exclamation marks. Okay, Hyacinthus on TikTok. If I don't sign the regularization contract, does it serve as a resignation? Technically, yes, because that means that you are signifying your interest that you don't want to continue with the company anymore. It's similar to the idea that if you are a probee or a probationary employee and they did not regularize you after 6 months, then that means you are technically fired. Or they will not fire you, but they will say you are still a probationary even after 6 months, which means you're not eligible for benefits. You're not eligible to the fully fledged compensation or salaries or whatever it is that the company gives to regular employees until you've stepped up to the plate and that they think that you are worthy of getting regularized. Richie, do we still do podcasts? Yes, but we haven't yet recorded our season 3. But thank you for asking. Our podcast is on Spotify. It's called From Grit to Great, and it's also about career management. So most of the things we talk about in our live stream are also discussed on our podcast. We even have an episode about when is the right time to quit. So please catch that. I think that's on, I forgot which episode, but I think that's on season 1. Okay, let's cover last 2 questions. Okay, someone's asking, I signed a contract that requires me to pay a training bond. If I ever quit prematurely, will they really make me pay? Yes, they will. If it's a big amount, they will likely. And they have the right to do so because this was under consent. You've signed under the same contract, unfortunately. So what I would recommend is, if you have the bargaining power, I would recommend to negotiate before you sign to the contract to lessen or lower the training bond or to take it away. Um, okay. Bonwa on Facebook is asking, which is more for the service for the employees, the management, or the union? I'm not sure what this question is about. Uh, what I do think, however, is that in any organization, it must be a two-way street. The benefit should cover both the employees and the management and the owners. Okay, I like this one. Okay, let's answer this from Marilyn Borbor. Second to the last question. If the benefits of the company do not change for so many years, okay, meaning nagka-inflation na, right? Going out and eating out is now 700 pesos per person, right? And yet this company is not stepping up to the same inflation rate. For example, what if the bosses are kind, the environment is fine, the co-workers is good? Is that enough reason for you to stay even though you are feeling to not continue anymore because you want to know their long-term plan for tenured employees? This is a question that the only person who can answer is you. What is your priority, Marilyn? If your priority is being able to step up to the plate with better financing because you're properly compensated, and if the company is not giving you, then you have to move to a different organization who can treat you better. But if you are happy, you said that you have an amazing set of bosses, they're kind, the environment is good, coworkers are good, then if you're happy with it, you might want to think, maybe I will not get this type of situation anymore if I move to another company. So it is a risk. I will say this, however, I do think that if you properly look for the right company, if you do your research, you ask a lot of people, and you follow your instincts, plus you get to read the body language and how the HR recruiter responds to you during the job interview, I think that there are still plenty of amazing companies out there. Meaning, companies that will compensate you right, but at the same time have an amazing culture among their employees. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? They're not they're not common, but I think there's plenty of them. I will not say that they are rare because rare is an understatement. It assumes that it's so hard to find them these days. I don't think so. I think that companies are becoming more and more competitive to the point that they have to change their ways and that they have to adjust to employees' needs and wants. Okay? Okay. Let's cover one more question. Okay, this one's from Kara on TikTok. I change my jobs every 2 to 3 years. Will this affect my future employment? I don't think so. I think what you're trying to imply, Kara, is there a stigma attached to people who do job hopping? And that is they don't stay in the same company for too long. The statistics and research does not say the same thing. I'll give an example, and I said this in one of my live streams before. A study conducted in Malaysia and Singapore shows that if you're the type of employee who moves from one company to another every 2 to 4 years, it actually means that you're in demand. Can I get the letter D if you agree? You're in demand. Let's say you job hop from company X, Y, and Z, and these are all reputable companies. It only means one thing. You can command your salary, you can command that position, and recruiters want you so bad, which means you're an amazing talent. It also means one thing. If a company really wants to take you, then the challenge is to find ways to keep you loyal. Should I make my salary competitive? Should I make the culture more open and inclusive to everyone? I think that's what makes great and amazing companies in the end. Now, does this mean that I should not worry at all anymore? There's also the other side of the coin, and that is obviously there are still a lot of traditional recruiters out there, traditional recruiters who think, ooh, only 2 years for company X, only 1 year, this is a job hopper. Meaning, when she comes to my company, she will also job hop. I don't want to make that risk. Of course, there are still employees who do this. So, my recommendation to you is you have to be selective to the companies that you apply for. Startups and multinational companies are very open to job hoppers. They will take on the challenge that the problem is not the employee. The problem could be they're just not happy enough to what I offer. So they will offer you something that's better. Okay? Okay. Gladiators in suits. It's sleeping time. I need to walk my dog now. But I think we've had an amazing evening. So we'll do a part two of this, but I'll do a part two tomorrow around 6 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. Is that okay? Can I get the number six in the chat box if that's okay? Okay. If you don't have the time, that's cool because these live sessions are recorded on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. They will always be there. So you can just watch it later on. But I will do my session tomorrow at 6 o'clock because I have dinner to attend afterwards. But I want to talk to you about quitting. We're going to do a part two about this topic, quitting, but not quite yet. So please reserve your questions, or you can send them in advance, and I'll find time to answer them tomorrow night instead. Okay? Stay safe. Thank you for joining us. As I always say, I'm only good as the energy you give back to me. And so thank you for the amazing energy for tonight. I wish you the best in your career. See you guys soon. Bye.